Hey friends, welcome back to A Simple Truth. We are in Deuteronomy. So we just started it yesterday. That was chapters 1 and 2. Today is going to be 3 and 4. And we've been looking at a couple different things. Really what we've been looking at is the summary of what's been going on with the Israelites. And today we'll be continuing that. Last time I think we saw, was it Og? No, today is Og. We saw the defeat of King Sihon, and today is the defeat of King Og. We'll also take a look at a warning for obedience, a warning to be obedient, and a caution against idolatry and what that could look like. So again, this is going to be the king of Sihon that we're looking at. I'm sorry, the king of Bashan that we're looking at today. Getting all my kings mixed up. So that's where we're going to be looking at. And again, this is going to be Deuteronomy 3 and 4. So, chapter 3. When we turned and went up the road to Bashan, and King Og of Bashan came out against us, he and all his people, to battle at Idri. And the Lord said to me, "Do not fear him, for I have delivered him and all his people and his land into your hand. You shall do to him as you did to Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt at Heshbon." So the Lord our God also delivered into our hands Og, king of Bashan, with all his people, and we attacked him until he had no survivors remaining. And we took all his cities at that time. There was not a city which we did not take from them. 60 cities, all of the region of Argob, the kingdom of Og, in Bashan. All these cities were fortified with high walls, gates, and bars, besides a great many rural towns. And we utterly destroyed them, as we did to Sihon, king of Heshbon, utterly destroying the men, women, and children of every city. But all the livestock and the spoil of the cities we took as booty for ourselves. And at that time we took the land from the hand of the 2 kings of the Amorites who were on this side of the Jordan, from the river Arnon to Mount Hermon. The Sidonians call Hermon Sirion, and the Amorites call it Senir. All the cities of the plain, all Gilead and Bashan, as far as Shalkath and Edrei, cities of the kingdom of Og in Bashan. For only Og, king of Bashan, remained of the remnant of the giants. Indeed, his bedstead was an iron bedstead. It is not in Rabbah of the people of Ammon. 9 cubits is its length, and 4 cubits is its width, according to the standard cubit. And this land which we possessed at that time, from Aror, which is by the river Arnon, and half the mountains of Gilead and its cities I give to the Reubenites and the Gadites. The rest of Gilead and all of Bashan, the kingdom of Og, I give to the half-tribe of Manasseh. All the region of Argob, with all Bashan, was called the land of the giants. Jair, the son of Manasseh, took the region of Argob as far as the border of the Gershites and the Mahalathites, and called it Bashan after his own name, Havoth Jair, to this day. Also, I give Gilead to Machir, and to the Reubenites and to the Gadites I gave from Gilead as far as the river Arnon, the middle of the river as its border, as far as the river Jabbok, the border of the people of Amnon. The plain also, with the Jordan as its border, from Chennereth as far as the east side of the sea of Arabah. That is the Salt Sea, below the slopes of Pisgah. Then I commanded you at that time, saying, "The Lord your God has given you into this land to possess. All you men of valor shall cross over armed before your brethren, the children of Israel. But your wives, your little ones, and your livestock, I know that you have much livestock, shall stay in your cities, which I have given to you, until the Lord has given rest to your brethren as to you. And they also possess the land which the Lord your God is giving them beyond the Jordan. Then each of you may return to his possession which I have given you." And I commanded Joshua at that time, saying, "Your eyes have seen all that the Lord your God has done to these 2 kings. So will the Lord do to all the kingdoms through which you pass. You must not fear them, for the Lord your God himself fights for you." Then I pleaded with the Lord at that time, saying, "O Lord God, you have begun to show your servant your greatness and your mighty hand. For what God is there in heaven or on earth who can do anything like your works and your mighty deeds? I pray, let me cross over and see the good land beyond the Jordan, whose pleasant mountains and Lebanon. But the Lord was angry with me on your account and would not listen to me. So the Lord said to me, Enough of that. Speak no more to me of this matter. Go up to the top of Pisgah and lift your eyes toward the west and north, the south and the east. Behold it with your eyes, for you shall not cross over the Jordan. But commanded Joshua, and encourage him, and strengthen him, for he shall go over before this people, and he shall cause them to inherit the land which you will see. So we stayed in the valley opposite Beth Peor. Chapter 4. Now, O Israel, listen to the statutes and judgments which I teach you, and observe, that you may live, and go in and possess the land which the Lord your God of your fathers is giving you. You shall not add to the word which I command you, nor take from it, that you may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you. Your eyes have seen what the Lord did at Baal Peor, for the Lord your God has destroyed from among all the men who followed Baal of Peor. But you, who held fast to the Lord your God, are alive today, every one of you. Surely I have taught you statutes and judgments, just as the Lord my God commanded me, that you should act according to them in the land which you go to possess. Therefore, be careful to observe them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the peoples who will hear all these statutes and say, Surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what great nation is there that has no God so near to it as the Lord our God is to us, whatever reason we may call upon him? And what great nation is there that has such statutes and righteous judgments as are in all this law which I set before you today? Only take heed to yourself and diligently keep yourself, lest you forget the things that your eyes have seen, and lest they depart from your heart all the days of your life. And teach them to your children and to your grandchildren, especially concerning the day you stood before the Lord your God in Horeb, when the Lord said to me, Gather the people to me, and I will let them hear my word, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they live on the earth, and that they may teach their children. Then you came near and stood at the foot of the mountain, and the mountain burned with fire to the midst of heaven, and the darkness, cloud, and thick darkness, with darkness, cloud, and thick darkness. And the Lord spoke to you out of the midst of the fire. You heard the sound of the words, but saw no form. You heard only a voice. So he declared to you his covenant which he commanded you to perform, the 10 Commandments, and he wrote them on 2 tablets of stone. And the Lord commanded me at that time to teach you your statutes and judgments, that you might observe them in the land which you are crossing over to possess. Take careful heed to yourselves, for you saw no form when the Lord spoke to you at Horeb out of the midst of the fire, lest you act corruptly and make for yourselves a carved image in the form of any figure, the likeness of a male or female, the likeness of any animal that is on the earth, or the likeness of any winged bird that flies in the air, the likeness of anything that creeps on the ground, or the likeness of any fish that is in the water beneath the earth. And take heed, lest you lift your eyes to heaven, and when you see the sun, the moon, and the stars, and all the host of heaven, you feel driven to worship them and serve them, which the Lord your God has given to all the peoples under the whole heaven as a heritage. But the Lord has taken you and brought you out of the iron furnace, out of Egypt, to be his people, an inheritance, as you are to this day. Furthermore, the Lord is angry with me for your sakes, and sworn that I would not cross over to the Jordan, and that I would not enter the good land which the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance. But I must die in this land. I must not cross over the Jordan, but you shall cross over and possess that good land. Take heed to yourselves, lest you forget the covenant of the Lord your God, which he has made with you, and made for yourselves a carved image in the form of anything which the Lord your God has forbidden you. For the Lord your God is a consuming fire, a jealous God. When you beget children and grandchildren and have grown old in the land, and act corruptly and make to carve image in the form of anything, and do evil in the sight of the Lord your God to provoke him to anger, I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that you will soon utterly perish from the land which you cross over to the Jordan to possess. You will not prolong your days in it, but will be utterly destroyed. And the Lord will scatter you among the peoples, and you will be left few in number among the nations where the Lord will drive you. And there you will serve gods, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither hear, nor eat, nor smell. But from there you will seek the Lord your God, and you will find him if you seek him with all your heart and with all your soul. When you are in distress, and all these things come upon you in the latter days, when you turn to the Lord your God and obey his voice, for the Lord your God is a merciful God. He will not forsake you, nor destroy you, nor forget the covenant of your fathers which he swore to him. For ask now concerning the days that are past, which were before you, since the day that God created man on the earth, and ask from one end of heaven to the other, whether any great thing like this has happened, or anything like it has ever been heard. Did any people ever hear the voice of God speaking out of the midst of the fire, as you have heard, and live? Or did God ever try and go and take for himself a nation from the midst of another nation, by trials, by signs, by wonders, by war, by a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, and by great terrors, according to all that the Lord your God did to you in Egypt before your eyes? To you it was shown, that you might know that the Lord himself is God. There is none other besides him. Out of heaven he let you hear his voice, that he might instruct you. On earth he showed you his great fire, and you heard his words out of the midst of fire. And because he loved your fathers, therefore he chose their descendants after them. And he brought you out of Egypt with his mighty presence, with his mighty power, driving out from before you nations greater and mightier than you, to bring you in, to give you their land as an inheritance, as it is to this day. Therefore, know this day and consider it in your heart, that the Lord himself is God in heaven above, and on earth beneath there is no other. You shall therefore keep his statutes and his commandments, which I command you today, that it may go well with you and with your children after you, and that you may prolong your days in the land which the Lord your God is giving you for all time. Then Moses set apart 3 cities on this side of the Jordan towards the rising of the sun, that the manslayer might flee there, who kills his neighbor unintentionally, without having hated him in time past, and that by fleeing to one of these cities he might live. Bezer in the wilderness on the plateau of the Reubenites, and on the plateau for the Reubenites, Ramoth in Gilead for the Gadites, and Golan in Bashan for the Manassites. Now, this is the law which Moses set before the children of Israel. These are the testimonies, the statutes, and the judgments which Moses spoke to the children of Israel after they came out of Egypt, on this side of the Jordan in the valley opposite Beth Peor, in the land of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwell in Heshbon, whom Moses and the children of Israel defeated after they came out of Egypt. And they took possession of this land in the land of Og, king of Bashan, 2 of the kings of the Amorites, who were on his side of the Jordan, towards the rising of the sun, from Aror, which is on the bank of the river Arnon, even to Mount Sion, that is Hermon, and all the plain on the east side of the Jordan, as far as the sea of the Arabah, below the slopes of Pisgah. All right, so again, some really good summarizations of where we are. So I know that the past couple books have just been jammed-packed full of content, but I think this is a great reminder, and I think that's exactly why the message is given here to the Israelites, is to say, don't forget your journey, don't forget what God has done for you. He's driving out all these nations before you. Are their gods greater than the Lord your God? Do their gods call from heaven, protect them, draw them out of another nation, and command them and guide them and hedge them in this way? No other gods have done that. This also got me thinking about this instruction at the end of chapter 4, the instruction to God's law. Obviously got me thinking about the law, and I've do a lot of thinking about that, just because that's kind of Old Testament, right? Old Testament or Old Covenant is so law focused, and then New Testament obviously being so Jesus focused. That doesn't mean that you can't find Jesus in the Old Testament. There's absolutely ample opportunity to find that in the Old Testament. But again, it really got me thinking about the law, and is the law necessary now that we live in the New Testament? And this is a much bigger topic than I'll even begin to talk about here. But I just thought it was interesting that when looking at that and seeing the law versus Jesus and how it was so completely necessary in the Old Testament. And I do believe it necessary in the New Testament too, because if we don't have the law, we don't begin to know the standard. And yet Jesus came and elevated that standard even higher, saying, hey, it's not enough that you don't marry another man's wife, that you don't sleep with her. I tell you, if you look lustfully at a woman, you've committed adultery. So he kicks it up even higher, saying you don't even begin to really realize how impossible the law is to hold. Yet take heart, I've overcome that. Jesus has fulfilled the law, not abolished. He has fulfilled it. He's the only one who can, who even could fulfill the law. And Jesus has done that. So I believe, yes, the law is necessary, but Jesus is now infinitely more necessary. Again, that's a tiny summation of just a massive topic, but it just got me thinking about it. So as always, thank you so much for joining. I definitely appreciate it. And I hope this continues to be beneficial for you. So as always, thanks for joining and have a great rest of your day.